Hello, everybody. Welcome to Knights of the Round Table. I'm Luca, and this is TJ.
Hello, everyone.
And for tonight's edition, we are reviewing the Super Mario Bros. Movie. The Super Mario Bros. Movie follows Italian-American plumbers Mario and Luigi on their journey to rescue Princess Daisy from King Koopa. What are your thoughts on the movie, TJ?
I have a lot of interesting thoughts. This movie seems it is fairly infamous. And although I didn't find it terrible. I didn't find it to be a terrible film, and I think there's a lot of fun elements in it. That said, would I call this film overly hated and overcriticized? Yes, but at the same time, I can't say that it's a hidden gem, if that makes any sense. I don't think it's great.
Fair enough. I found the film to be surprisingly good. When you told me we were going to review this movie, I thought it was going to suck really bad, but it didn't to me.
Yeah,
like the sets were well designed, the characters are funny, they got the silly 90s dialogue nailed down,
yeah.
and it gives off vibes of a Mario game.
Okay, you would have a better idea of that. Personally, I'm not too not too into Mario. So I think that'd be an interesting dynamic for that review. Which, speaking of, one of the things that I personally liked, probably my favorite aspect was Bob Hoskins' take on Mario.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be surprising. He's very down to earth without being too drab. I like his relationship with John Leguizamo's with Luigi. They have a fun dynamic. Speaking of, I think Leguizamo. I think he's not as good as Mario. He's not as good as Bob Hoskins, but he's still a lot of fun. He's still a lot of fun. They're both fun together. They made this movie much more enjoyable for me than probably should be. And I even like Samantha. I wrote this now. Samantha Martins. I like her at Daisy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she has the best material all the time, but she does have a good charisma, especially early on in the movie.
Yeah, I think Bob Hoskins was a riot in this movie. He was really into his role.
Yeah,
I found certain parts with Mario to be funny. I like his relationship with his little brother Luigi and how he treats him like a son. And I like Luigi's romance arc with Daisy. There's a bit of awkwardness between them, but as we get further into the movie, they start to dig each other and share romantic glances at each other, and it just builds up to towards the end of the movie.
Bob. He is I always find it so weird to look at him, to see him in interviews, to see he has a British accent, because he's just very engrossed. I do want to get into King Koopa, but I guess we should mention the dinosaur in the room. The most infamous element of this movie is that instead of the Mushroom Kingdom or the Dinosaur Kingdom, I guess it would be Dinosaur Kingdom. This movie instead opts to go into another dimension where dinosaurs didn't go extinct. How do you think of that choice? This is I'm not too engrossed into the Mario world or anything like that, or franchise in general, but even then, a lot of the elements are so this is okay. I can kind of get why somebody would be very reluctant to not show those elements, the elements of the Mushroom Kingdom. They're very cartoonish. They're very abstract. Yet it's such a strange decision to set this to help translate that, to make a setting that is also very strange and very alienating, just in a very different way. How did you think of that decision?
It didn't really bother me. I like the concept of there being two dimensions.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of humans evolving from dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's a fun
Yeah.
concept. Do you feel like they took good advantage of it?
Of course. They create a scary world for the dinosaurs, and they make the authority figures over there corrupt.
I think
And they really like embrace the dinosaur aspect by throwing in an actual dinosaur for Yoshi and making Koopa have visible lizard features.
yeah, it's very oh my oh my gosh. I would like to get into Dennis Hopper later, but I have mixed feelings on the setting, like ignoring it being an adaptation. I like there's a lot I like throughout the film. There's a lot of elements and ideas that I kind of like, but they either just don't come together or just really feel kind of muddled. I think the world in general is a good idea. Is a kind of a microcosm of that, or I guess it would be kind of I guess it would be kind of the opposite of that. There's a there's a lot of fun aspects. I like how there's occasionally little dinosaur puppets. I like some of the design of the world. Like I like many of the elements, but other elements are well done, but they don't really feel like they go into the theme. Which is not to say that even though there's a lot of work put into those elements, they just don't really come together. Like like a lot of the architecture and vehicles, true they're so well made, well designed and creative. I especially like how some of the police vehicles just don't have brakes for no good reason. They just have no brakes.
Yeah.
But, but at the same time, a lot of that could, some elements just feel like they could be in, feel like they could be in another movie.
I think it's meant to be outlandish.
I know it's not. I wouldn't say the problem is that it's outlandish. That's some of the funner bits, but not. But some of it just felt. I wouldn't say felt like it could be in a different movie. They could be in Blade Runner or Mad Max or some other movie like that, and it would not only would you not tell that they're out of place, but they could fit better. Which is not to say that they aren't. Again, they're very well done and very creative, but they just don't feel like they mesh with the theme in contrast to other elements, which I think feel work a lot better.
What do you think of the Goombas?
I like them. I do feel like their design. I'll put this. They're nothing. Obviously, they're practically nothing like their video game counterparts. For all that's worth. But person, but I kind of like their design. I really like actually saying kinda. I really like their design. I like this threatening, but at the same time very goofy idea of these big brutes with these creepy, honestly, kind of creepy little heads, reptilian heads.
Yeah.
I feel that they're a little underutilized. Like I would like if they were a tad more threatening, which I kind of get that. I kind of get why, but I feel like the tone they were trying to go for, where it is this kind of where it's this kind of creepy, kind of scary, but at the same time very goofy. I feel they work. I feel they, for the most part, work for the Goombas. But speaking of, what did you think of Dennis Hopper as King Koopa?
Excellent. I think he put on a show.
He chewed the scenery like gum. The man's
Yeah.
I think he's good, but for different reasons than Dennis Hopper.
He's menacing, but in a goofy way.
I thought he was just. He was just like Dennis Hopper. He's just. Yeah, I would say. I think he's a little. I feel he's a little disorganized, but Dennis Hopper, he's just having so much fun, and and so many decisions of them are just so bizarre. Like how he's like constantly washing his hands. I kind of wish they did a little bit more. He's a germaphobe, and I wish they kind of did a little bit more with him with that.
He's
But
a
he's just
germaphobe, yet he bathes in mud.
like he even goes into that.
Yeah.
But it's such a strange performance. Which I enjoyed, although I don't think it was the best.
So I like the items they throw in, the mushroom and babam.
Yeah, and I think they
Um,
also have Bullet Bill at one point.
oh yeah,
This
they
is what
do.
I thought, right?
I think they were well designed. They look a lot like the ones from the actual video game series, and I like how they help the Mario Bros rescue Daisy and fight off bad guys.
Yeah, those are some of the few. I mean, I guess the mushroom's a mushroom, but the bullet bills and the babam are really the only visual elements that are taken directly from the games, which is in itself a bad thing. I don't feel like this movie being different from the games is a bad thing, but I do think it is a very interesting observation. On that note, I think personally, this movie, I think my problems with it, they stem kind of. This movie had a troubled production, which I don't want to get too far into, but one of the aspects was there was a lot of rewrites. The directors implied a lot of rewrites, and it kind of feels like that for me. A lot of the movie kind of feels like people going, hey, you know what'd be cool? We should have Big Bertha. Hey, you know what else would be cool? We should have the Iggy and Spike be actually good all along, and also and also like I'm trying to think, and also like we should have Mario go down a pipe and on pipe and make it cold, and you get the idea. There's just to me it feels like there's a lot of ideas which they try to incorporate, but it feels messy, not from a lack of caring or lack of trying, but it really just feels messy without really coming together. Like I feel like a lot of elements could be like trimmed out or edited or just not no just trimmed out and simplified and streamlined, and you would get a stronger movie.
The production is low quality, but the way it's presented, it's
Oh,
comedic and entertaining.
oh
It
no, it's
keeps me
high
reeled in.
quality. I would call this high quality. There's a lot of work that went into this, which is part of why I call them. But it is so yeah, but it's kind of a strange enigma. Also nothing happens, which is weird.
Oh, yeah.
It's they had all the of New York and they had to be those buildings.
And Big Bertha, she was such a random character to put in.
Yeah,
They just wanted to throw someone in, from what we can
yeah.
tell.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. Actually, just on some random notes, I really like I did really like the jail of it though. There's just I think that I did like the jail scene though, where they're just sort of being thrown around in this very strange environment. I feel that's another point where the movie kind of came together a little bit for me. That was a very entertaining scene.
Yeah, it was a good arrest scene.
Yeah.
Also, I like Toad's character. He tries to give the brothers joy and cheer them
And
up when they're down.
then he gets turned into a Goomba.
Even as a
And
Goomba, he's a good character.
yeah, he
He's
is a
still
good.
helpful.
Yeah, he is still good. He's still a good person.
Yeah. And he's still got like the musical talent in him.
Yeah. Well, that's that whole thing with the Goombas. It is that whole scene. Although the idea that the Goombas are dancing, it just comes out of nowhere. I don't know. I think it just feels like a bunch of ideas are being thrown into this film, and it's not like that doesn't pay off. It does, but it just doesn't feel integrated with most of the film. So, do you want to wrap this up?
Yeah.
All right. Would you recommend this film?
For Mario fans, yes, I'd recommend it. For non-Mario fans, who are like just watching the movie for the first time, I'd recommend finding something better. And I'd rate the movie a 6.5 out of 10.
Why would you recommend it? Why would you recommend it to Mario fans? Like, just for like, would you recommend it for people who are just trying to find stuff in the Mario franchise, or what?
Because they have knowledge of the Mario games. They know what they're getting into.
And they know, and they'll also know that a lot of the stuff is not like the games.
Well, they'll probably figure that out when they watch it.
I will say, I've been harping on this film, but I will say, it. I don't think this movie could be made today. It is. It's a very. I found it to be a very messy film, in ways that weren't in ways that weren't entertaining. But at the same time, it's a very strange experience with with a lot of fun elements sprinkled here and there. Although I wouldn't call great, I think it's still kind of fun for a watch or two. I probably have to go with six.
Yeah.
6 as well. I wouldn't say go out. It might be worth watching. It is worth a watch in my opinion, but I don't think it is. But I don't think you have to be too hasty about it. It's fun.
I mean, yeah, but if you're into comedies, you can try watching this film. But don't expect it to be like the video game series. Don't expect it to be exactly alike.
Yeah. All right. So Luca, what do you want to review? Should we say the change in schedule?
Yeah. So we're not gonna be able to review movies every week due to work and college. We're gonna be doing it every other week instead.
All right. So what do you want to review in 2 weeks?
Killer Bean Forever.
All right. Thank you for your time, Luca, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you, TJ.
Thanks for your time, and cut.